Hello, chess aficionados! Today's video takes us into the dynamic world of the Panov Attack, a popular and aggressive line against the Caro-Kann Defense. This opening is known for its bold pawn structures and rich tactical possibilities, offering a game full of strategic depth and complexity. The Caro-Kann Defense, characterized by its solid and resilient nature, poses a challenge to many e4 players. In response, the Panov Attack emerges as a vigorous weapon, aiming to dismantle Black's setup with energetic play. This line leads to asymmetrical pawn structures, offering both sides chances for middle game plans and endgame superiority. Our journey will dissect the first 15 moves of this engaging opening, providing insights into the strategies, tactics, and positional ideas behind each move. 1. e4. c6. White opens with the king's pawn, claiming central space. Black responds with the Caro-Kann signature move, preparing to support d5 for central counterplay. 2. d4, d5. White continues to control the center. Black challenges this immediately with d5, centralizing and preparing to develop the light-squared bishop. 3. d5, d5. The Panov Attack begins. White takes the pawn on d5, opening lines and creating asymmetry. Black recaptures, maintaining a strong pawn center. 4. c4, knight f6. White advances the c-pawn, undermining Black's center and preparing for rapid development. Black develops the knight to f6, targeting the e4 square and supporting the center. 5. Knight c3, g6. White develops the knight, reinforcing the center and preparing to castle. Black's g6 prepares to fianchetto the bishop, aiming for control of the long diagonal and solidifying kingside defense. In these opening moves, we see the Panov Attack's intent to create imbalances and dynamic play. White aims for central control and space advantage, while Black focuses on solid development and kingside safety. 6. Bishop g5, bishop g7. White intensifies the pressure with bishop g5, pinning the knight on f6. Black develops the bishop to g7, eyeing the central squares and reinforcing the kingside. 7. Bishop f6, bishop f6. White decides to exchange the bishop for the knight, aiming to disrupt Black's pawn structure around the king. Black recaptures with the bishop, maintaining a solid pawn structure. 8. d5, castle. White captures the pawn on d5, initiating an open game. Black prioritizes king safety with castling, a crucial step in consolidating the position. 9. Bishop c4, knight d7. White develops the bishop to c4, targeting the potentially weak pawn on d5. Black's knight move to d7 aims to support the d5 pawn and prepare for c5, challenging the center. 10. Knight f3, knight b6. White develops the knight to f3, exerting pressure on the center and preparing to castle. Black repositions the knight to b6, defending the d5 pawn and eyeing the c4 bishop. 11. Bishop b3, bishop g4. White's bishop retreats to b3, maintaining pressure on the d5 square. Black's bishop move to g4 challenges White's knight and creates tension. 12. Castle bishop f3. White castles, securing the king and connecting rooks. Black captures the knight on f3, aiming to double White's pawns and weaken the kingside structure. 13. Queen f3. Bishop d4. White recaptures with the queen, keeping an eye on the kingside and center. Black's bishop captures on d4, challenging the central pawn structure and activating the bishop. 14. Rook d1, bishop g7. White places the rook on d1, aligning it with the queen and targeting the d5 pawn. Black retreats the bishop to g7, safeguarding it and maintaining central control. 15. d6, d6. White pushes the pawn to d6, creating a passed pawn and opening lines. Black captures on d6, preventing the pawn from advancing further and opening the e-file. In this section, we see the game transitioning into a dynamic middle game. Both sides are vying for control, with White focusing on exploiting the open d-file and creating pawn weaknesses, while Black seeks to neutralize White's initiative and capitalize on the doubled f-pawns. The position is balanced but ripe with tactical and strategic opportunities for both sides. As the game progresses past the 15th move in the Panov Attack of the Caro-Kann Defense, We enter a phase where strategic foresight and tactical alertness become crucial. The position, characterized by its asymmetry and dynamic potential, calls for precise play from both sides. White's approach in the Panov attack is to utilize the spatial advantage and target weaknesses in Black's camp. The passed pawn on d6, although currently blockaded, is a significant asset that White can leverage in the middle game and endgame. The bishop on b3, coupled with the queen and rook, exerts pressure on the d-file and targets the d5 square. White should aim to activate all pieces, maintain the tension, and look for opportunities to break through Black's defenses. Black's game plan revolves around neutralizing White's central and queenside pressure while seeking counterplay. The knights, though currently on the back foot, have potential to jump into more active squares. Black should aim to resolve the tension in the center favorably, possibly by pushing the d-pawn at an opportune moment and activating the rooks along the open files. The bishop on g7 is a long-term asset, exerting pressure on the diagonal. As the game heads towards the endgame, the pawn structure and piece activity will play a pivotal role. White's passed pawn can become a decisive factor, while Black must seek active play to counterbalance this. Both players need to be mindful of potential pawn weaknesses and look for tactical shots that could change the course of the game. This exploration of the Panov attack in the Caro-Kann defense underscores the importance of understanding pawn structures and typical plans associated with them. It's a vivid example of how opening choices dictate the nature of the ensuing game, demanding strategic adaptability and tactical sharpness. We hope this comprehensive breakdown of the Panov attack has given you deeper insights into this aggressive and popular option against the Caro-Kann defense. Whether you choose to play this line or face it across the board, the understanding gained here will be invaluable for your chess development. Thank you for joining us in this strategic exploration. Stay tuned for more in-depth analyses of fascinating chess openings and defenses. Keep honing your skills and enjoying the journey through the world of chess.